Jessica Russell. I'm owner of Russell Homestead LLC. And today I want to talk to you about a weed that you could find in your yard called chickweed. It has a great nutritional and medicinal value. So let's dig in. Basically, it is a low-growing plant. It likes shady, moist soil nutrient areas. This is basically what it looks like. There are some poisonous imposters, and the way that you can determine if it's chickweed or not is a couple different ways. I'm not sure if you could see it on the camera, but there is a single line of hairs along the stem. So, excuse me, one side will have hairs. The leaves will be like parallel to each other, opposite to each other here. And then there are, let's see if I could peel this back here a little bit. There are white strands inside the stem. If you break the stem and there's a milky substance, that's a big no-no. You don't want a milky substance. That is one of the imposters. So, see the little hair right there? So it has like little white hair-like strands inside. You want that. No milk. Its roots are very sensitive. So when you harvest, you want to use like pruning shears or scissors, something of that sort, because you can easily pull the roots up. This is if you're finding it wild. If you don't have any, you can buy seeds, but the plants produce like thousands of seeds, and it can start to overtake pretty quickly. So I would suggest planting, if you're buying the seeds and planting it yourself, I would suggest planting it in a pot so that you can kind of maintain it and keep it contained. As well as it also likes to grow like alongside clover and other grasses and plants, so it'll just be easier to harvest if you have it from a pot versus if you're out wild foraging, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. Free food, because this chickweed can basically be, it's a spinach substitute. So you could use it in salads, you can eat it raw off the plant, you can make teas out of it, pesto even. You could put it in smoothies because it has a great nutritional value. It has vitamins A, B1, 2, 3, 6, 9, vitamins like C, and a couple other vitamins like magnesium, zinc, some other great, I can't even think of all of them right now because it just is loaded. It's basically like a multivitamin in a plant. It also contains saponins, which is like a little soapy substance. It's an emulsifier, so it will help you absorb those nutrients. However, too much can cause like some digestion issues and that sort of things. So make sure that if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you want to consult your doctor or do your own research and kind of use your best judgment on that. As well as, you know, I would imagine that you would have to ingest quite a bit, because I saw one recipe for the tea was like a pint of dried herbs to like a quart of water. So that seemed like a lot to me. But basically, that's the nutritional value of this. You can eat pretty much all of it. I even read that you can harvest the seeds and grind them up and use them to make bread. So that's an option as well. what I plan on doing is I have, this is a pretty good size handful here. I'm going to take this and wash it off and let it wilt for 24 hours. And I'm going to infuse an oil to then make a salve. And that salve, because chickweed has antibacterial, antiseptic, and antifungal like properties, it's going to be good to relieve itching from rashes, poison ivy, bug bites. It's going to help reduce inflammation, draw out splinters or infection, soothe dry, cracked skin. There's just all sorts of medicinal uses for the salve. You can also take this and make a poultice out of it, and put it on like open wounds to like draw out the bacterial infections, pink eye even. So it is a very versatile plant that can be a pesky weed, especially for farmers because it gets tangled up in their equipment. But there are so many uses for it. So I was excited to see it growing back behind my chicken coop. My chickens absolutely go nuts over it, as well as I have a couple goats that like it as well. Now, with grazing animals, you do have to kind of be careful because once it goes to seed, then it can cause some upset stomach issues with it. So I actually have not let them out recently so that I could harvest more of it. But you definitely want to use it, harvest and use it when it's young and tender. That is when it will have the most flavor if you're going to consume it. So again, I'm going to make a salve out of this. I'm going to infuse an oil first. So the first step is to let it wilt for 24 hours because this plant contains a lot of water. I think it's upwards of like 90% of water. And we all know that water and oil don't necessarily mix. So if there's too much water content in your infused oil, which you're then putting in a salve, you're just going to encourage mold and other nasties to grow. And your oil and your salve will not last as long. So you want to let it, basically I'm going to take this in, I'm going to wash it, pat it dry, spread it out, and let it wilt for 24 hours. Then I'm going to put it in a jar, put some olive oil in it, and let it infuse on the stove for about 24 to 48 hours, maybe about 36, and then strain it and use that oil in my salve. So basically that salve is going to be like my little first aid kit because you can pretty much use it on anything. Like I said, it'll do infections, cuts, scrapes, bug bites, burns even. So it's just a great all-around plant to use and forage from your own backyard. If you guys have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments and I will answer them the best that I can. I also want to put a disclaimer on here that I am not a professional herbalist or professional anything when it comes to plants or even homesteading for that matter. Yes, I own my own homesteading business, and yes, I've been homesteading for about 7 years, but I don't know everything. I am still learning. Homesteading is just a process of trial and error. So I am just teaching you what I've learned along my journey and hope that it helps you along yours. Have a great day.